Cool, cool. What the heck is that?
Hey guys.
Oh, hey.
Hello,
What up, what up, what up?
hello. Welcome to Photography and Friends Live.
We're here. Phil, you're here. Thank you so much. Also, did you watch our live from last week? Because we went live without you.
I know you did. You made it. You made it happen. How was that?
And did you watch it all?
No,
Because I just
I tested. I just like opened it for a
checked in
second
on
to
us.
make sure you guys were live.
Well, if you had watched and you learned, I discovered in Ecamm there's sound effects, and I was utilizing them as much as I possibly could.
Oh my gosh, what?
Yeah, if you go
Where
up
are
to the
they?
top and hit like window sound effects or whatever, it's a little
Why
board
did I
thing.
never know this?
I don't know.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, there it is. You might want to turn the volume down from
Jesus
that.
Christ. Um,
Also,
okay,
hey, let
that's
us know where
awesome.
you're watching in from. Let us know that you can hear Phil and I okay. Maybe Sam's gonna show up.
I gotta
Oh, you
switch you
flipping my
because
phone.
I was like looking at the wrong direction.
Like, wait, where am I?
Yeah, let us know where you're tuning in from. Also, let us know how our levels are. We were like realizing sometimes our levels aren't kind of the same.
Yeah,
So
I had
let us
trouble.
know if we sound about the same. Jose Torres, thank you. Glad to be back. Kenneth, always good to see you. Bill,
Bob,
good morning.
very ciao.
Deanna, oh, Very in the house. Very, it's been
Yeah.
so long.
You have a new
Um,
bar, Phil.
Denise,
San Jose, California. Oh man, I might be in San Jose next week.
Melissa, it's been a while, dude. It has been a month. So last week, for everyone, I was actually traveling. It was the first time traveling with long flying with my kids, my three kids. I flew
Ooh.
a couple times with the boys when they were first in their first year of life, which is crazy. So that I have twins. They're almost 5 now, which is crazy. But with the pandemic and then just having three little kids, yeah, we just didn't want to travel until
It's a lot, for
we
sure.
did this past week. First flight with three little toddlers, and it was crazy. We went to Cleveland to visit friends. We drove up to the Niagara Falls, which was pretty cool. Got some cool photos there that I'll be sharing. And then the week before, or a week or two before, we were all sick, and it was just one after
That's
the
rough.
other. So it's been a month, and I honestly haven't been feeling like I just haven't been paying attention to everything. So I
I mean,
apologize to everyone for not.
you don't need to apologize, dude. You do
Thank
so
you,
much
Will.
for
Thank you.
me and all of them.
Thank
So
you.
you were
Thank you.
fine. Sam and I tried to pick up some slack, but we're also terrible at that. So
Yeah. Well, yeah, Sam's gonna be here. He was just getting home with his pup from doing stuff. But yeah, I don't know. Does anyone have burning questions or things? Or well, what have you been up to? Have you been taking any cool photos or got any
yeah.
cool projects?
I shot a wedding in Chicago for one of our students for Colleen, and that was sort of fun.
Wait, what?
Yeah, didn't I tell you that?
No.
Yeah, so I have two students that have asked me to shoot their wedding so far.
Wait,
And one,
Colleen got married?
Colleen got married, and I flew out to Chicago,
Oh
did her
my
wedding,
gosh.
and she's on vacation right now. Oh, look, the dog is awake. Hi, Luna. But yeah, so that was fun. So it was like a really small, tiny little wedding. And it was cool having a student there while I was taking photos. She had all these questions while it was her wedding and during
Oh
her
my gosh.
so that was super fun. But yeah, other than that, no, I've Sam and I've been working on some stuff. We're about done with the lighting course. I have one more thing to film.
Hmm.
We wrapped up our wedding boot camp course, which was awesome.
Yeah, it sounds like people
I
really
think
like that.
yeah, some of us, Laura's here. It looks like a couple of other folks might be here, but we met like once every other week. And then towards the end, I did a one-on-one 30-minute session with everyone. I'm not sure if I can do that in the future,
Yeah.
but it was super cool to watch people's progress through the course and be able to actually meet with them and talk to them as we were going on. I think they gained a lot from it.
Hmm.
And so that new update to the wedding course will actually be going live on Udemy at some point.
Hmm.
And you will all now have access to it. And it is a huge revamp of my wedding photography course, including a section on me doing post editing, which I have never really done. But everyone said it
Yeah.
was super helpful. So
Yeah, I'm sure it was. I'm excited to hit publish on all those new updates, and then also, I think we're gonna do the boot camp again for the lighting course.
yeah,
And like
definitely.
you said, people really liked it. I think if you're interested in lighting, pay attention to the emails and stuff we send out, and on Plus, because we'll be announcing that pretty soon. I think when that will go live.
Yeah, we got to figure
Um,
out timing and all that jazz.
Cool. Yeah. And I've been editing and working on a real estate photography course, which will also be wrapping up in the next month or two
A photo? Yeah.
for photo. And we got to get you to do a video real estate
Did
photography
you
course,
see? I
real
know you
estate
haven't been on
video
Instagram
course.
because
Yeah.
you've been taking a break, but I just one of my favorite 30-second real
I
estate
saw
videos.
what you did.
Yeah.
Yeah. I
Oh, isn't
saw
that
that.
cool? I was
Yeah.
pretty excited about
Yeah.
that
That was
one.
good. Sam's tuning in. Let's get Sam over
Oh, okay,
here.
well, I gotta go. It was nice talking to you guys. Bye.
Bye, Sam.
Where are you going?
Oh, hi, Sam.
Just didn't want to talk to you.
Yeah.
Hit that like button if you're watching on YouTube or on Facebook, so that everyone knows we are live. Any updates from any of you following? And then Sam, Brian asked, can you explain just how the boot camp operates?
Oh yeah, sure. So typically when we come out with one, like for the lighting course, we'll come out with 4 dates where we will have a Zoom link that will only be accessible to those of you that buy the course through Photography and Friends Plus. And it's at a higher price than it would be on Udemy because you get to go to these 4 meetings where there's a group of folks and me, and we'll just go through. Basically, I'll have like kind of a live lesson that's similar to the class, but you'll be able to ask questions, we'll be able to interact, and then at the end we'll have a little bit of a Q&A. It also opens you up to a really cool discussion board in Photo and Friends Plus that will be open for the length of your boot camp. And there I will get notified immediately and be able to interact with you guys quickly and specifically, because I don't have time to do like the general discussion boards and stuff, but it's boot camp targeted.
Yeah.
So that's typically how it runs. And then the only problem is that we'll pick the 4 dates, and then if you can make them, you can make them. If you can't, you can't. But we will record them, and then you can always ask questions that I'll answer on the air for you. So that was our wedding one was the first one, and Laura's in it. She's in the discussion right now, and I know that I think she gained a lot from it, so she can always chime in on what it was. But I think it's great, and it's like a step towards us teaching in person, which is really what I'm trying to get us to at some point.
One of Will's lifetime goals.
Mm-hmm.
Well, the thing is, I forget who it was. I did check my Instagram in too late in Cleveland because there was a student who was like, "Dude, are you still here? I'd love to meet up." And if I didn't have family and too many things to do, I would love to put out that call while traveling. Like if there's any photo friends out there that wanna meet up. So let's look at a couple photo challenges to kick us off, and then we'll answer any questions. I'm just gonna bring up from the meal time challenge a couple weeks ago, which we didn't get too many people posting to that one, and then we'll look at the also textures. If you guys want to look at those 2 posts and let me know if there's any specific photos you want me to bring up. But let me go ahead and bring up one of my favorites from, which is kind of sad, from the photo challenge, the mealtime one.
See, the mealtime one just makes me hungry, so it's hard to watch.
Where's Sam? Sam is here. All right, there we are. Yeah, I mean, this was from Ian Blackie. I mean, great interpretation of mealtime. I think this is a really solid photo too. Just like super sharp. That blurry background. Perfect settings to get this photo. And I thought that was really good.
Yeah, that's quite the shot.
Yeah. And then there was one at the top. Bob, I'm always enjoying your compositions and lighting as well. This is pretty good. And you said this is just shot on an iPhone. Lighting looks really good. Usually like restaurant lighting and stuff isn't that pretty, but this looks pretty good, pretty clean. And of course, sushi restaurants generally have a pretty good presentation too. So
Yeah.
I thought this was a good example of that mealtime.
Yeah, I love that one.
The
Um,
colors too, like the soft light. I always appreciate that.
Deanna with the with the pup. Story of our lives as pup owners. This one, Melissa, another animal mealtime. It looks like, I don't know if it's just the
It's like a bug or
upload
something.
or the quality from like cropping or zooming in quite a bit. It's a little bit low, and then also maybe the editing. You get a little bit of like digital noise and like this gradient in the sky. So I don't know if that's like editing that created that or just the upload quality, but kind of
Oh
cool.
yeah, I don't know, Phil. Can you zoom out on your desktop? It's a little cut
Oh yeah,
off.
hold on, let me see. Oh yeah, sorry guys.
Oh, good.
There we
We're
go.
seeing. Yeah, there you go.
Right, there's that photo. Oh,
There
There,
the
you go.
crop was
there.
super
It's pretty
tall.
narrow. And I actually had a question with one of my students the other day that was asking about cropping when you're delivering stuff too. It's like you can crop to whatever you want, but if you keep the aspect ratio, you'll be able to print in those common aspect ratio sizes. So this photo would have probably a tough time printing on a standard size print. It'd have
Hmm.
to get to be a custom. But
Yeah,
the crop
Yeah.
itself though is cool because it's, particular to the scene.
this is nice.
That is
Yeah,
also
that's really
very
nice. It's so interesting all the different ways to sort of view mealtime, whether
Hmm.
people included people in it or just the food, obviously animals eating.
Yeah.
Lot of cool.
Textures are always one of my favorite things to take photos of when I'm not in a very inspiring place. Like there's not like architecture or a landscape that's like epic. Like kind of just getting close up and trying to find a texture is nice. A lot of bark on trees here.
Hmm.
Telephone pole, classic. I like this one right here. This is like super close up. Yellow lab
That's
fur.
cool. I'm so curious what their like sharpening settings were because that's something I would like just crank contrast and crank sharpening.
Hmm. Yeah, is there any other tip or advice you guys would give for like capturing a photo of texture? I mean, that's kind of the same thing
On,
I would think is just
yeah,
contrast. I mean, Lightroom now has like a texture slider that kind of brings out those
the
details.
texture's cool. I feel like the texture tool adds a little too much
Hmm.
like fakeness to me. I don't know.
Hmm.
I would lean into the contrast and the sharpening
Hmm.
because
Hmm.
that's really those textures are really what that's about is like creating that like almost that 3D like I want to touch the screen feel.
Hmm. Hmm.
And I don't
I
know
think I think another. Oh, good.
no, I'm done. You're good.
I think in what people are naturally doing here is like it's not necessarily capturing textures. It's like the shallow depth of field or even the like having layers in the image is almost takes away like that one. Like it's
Mm.
so cool when it's just like the entire frame is filled
Yeah.
and it's sort of parallel to it, and so
Hmm.
it's kind of
Like
like
a
the
flat.
whole
Yeah.
frame is just this texture and flat. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, oh, that's really nice.
That's cool. Like this one, I would almost just crop it into these feathers. Would have been kind of cool.
Hmm. Hmm. And
The
it's getting
color.
much more like abstracty, um, artsy in that. But
The
Nice.
textures do. Yeah, I love the crops, like you said.
Mm-hmm. Zoltan. This is a cool one.
That's cool. That's so funny. There's a fence going up in my backyard right now.
What happened to your fence? Do you not have a fence?
There was no fence here. Yeah, it's the
Oh, there.
first fence being built on the property.
That's good
Ooh,
lighting to show that the
yeah.
texture.
That's some good
F14. Wow, that's a pretty high aperture.
That's some pretty good lighting, though. It's like in the lighting course you talk about, right? Like the key light is on the left. There's like a
Mm-hmm.
small shadow down the middle right, and then there's just this nice fill, almost a backlight on the right side. If they're really trying to get into lighting on this one, I would have given this thing a backlight to separate it from the background.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and then, but also like texture wise, I would get even closer.
I wonder if they just kind of like edited the background to be black
Oh, that's a good point.
instead of like,
I don't know.
I'm not
It's
sure
pretty
how they.
soft edges.
Yeah, I might
It,
have.
it could be iPhone Studio Mode or whatever it is.
Yeah, maybe it kind of looks like it could have been. I might have like warmed it up just a little bit, like the blue lighting, blue highlights. Looks like
Macro.
it's coming from the light versus like the real red strawberry. But
Yeah, also that's a 1.6 second at f14 ISO 100 and on an R5, so that file is probably massive.
100
Yeah.
millimeter macro, so it wasn't iPhone.
Yeah.
This is a cool photo. I really like this one, Nancy. That is an
Oh,
awesome close up of this cat and really seeing the texture of the skin.
Yeah, cool.
Michael is here. It says black background, but also de-emphasizing lettering.
De-emphasized
Cool.
in Lightroom. Nice. Yeah, that makes sense. Cool.
Nice. Well, thank you again to everyone for posting your challenge photos. I hope these are exciting and fun for you. Night photography is this week's challenge. So get out there, take some night photos. Already got a few people posting photos, so thank you for doing that. And very one of my favorite night photographers out there lately is our very own Very Cardo. Thank you for posting. Cool.
A
So
supporter.
we'll look at these. I think we'll be out next week. You guys are filming a commercial, and we'll be taking a break, but hopefully we'll be back the following week. Sam, inspire our members. What is going on in your photography world?
What kind of lenses are you using, Sam, to shoot portraits?
oh man. Well, I've been gearing up for this big Asia trip that I have in a little over a week. I head to Nepal and Micronesia for about 7 weeks, and
Oh, nice.
going to be doing a lot of stuff, both video and photography. And I'm debating what to bring currently. That's like the biggest thing because
Currently,
once I'm out the door, that's what I got.
Sam and
So
I
I
talk about
think
this every day.
yeah, I've been going to Wilfer Council, but I ended up getting a new lens for this trip. I just have the 80 millimeter for my X2D Hasselblad, and it's a great lens, but it's massive. And so I actually just picked up a 55 millimeter f2.5, which is about the same as like a 44 millimeter f2 on a full frame camera. And it's real pretty. It's real light. It's gonna be a good like travel camera. And pretty excited to do some like sort of traveling portraiture. Been sort of looking at whether I bring the strobe or if I just do natural light, sort of debating the tools I want to bring with me. So
Are you doing video too, or just photography?
both,
Yeah.
both. Yeah. So it's going to be like I have my film camera, and then I'll have the camera just always with me to sort of bring up and take photos with. So yeah, but it's cool. I've talked with organizations a lot. Brittany actually posted she's doing a big one of our supporters. She posted about doing this big modeling shoot and sort of talking about like we're going to do 9 models in one day and all these things. I was like, well, what's your timeline? Have you like when do people coming and then they're going to make up and all this. And one of the main things I've been doing lately is talking with the clients of like what what are we doing, throughout this time? What do the days look like? And what deliverables do we want to walk away with? And so it's kind of like we want to get portraits of their various partners in these remote places, and they want to do both formal portraits, but then also some just like more candid stuff. And so yeah, it's kind of a mixed bag of things, but yeah, pretty excited to get out there.
Cool. Yeah, that'll be
Yeah,
fun. How
yeah.
long are you gonna be gone?
7 weeks.
Oh my god,
Oh,
that's longer than I
nice.
thought it was.
Yeah,
That's so long.
yeah,
What am
it's a
I
lot.
gonna do?
It's a long trip. It's a long trip, that's for
Laura
sure.
wants you to post photos while you're traveling to
Yeah,
Instagram.
I'm I'm gonna
spam
try and do
post
better
on
about that.
Instagram.
Gonna
Brittany,
try and
hi
do better about
Brittany.
that.
Yeah, if anyone has questions, feel free to shoot them at us now. Post them to the comments. Or if anyone posted something to Plus, if you want to us to check out a question or a photo for critique, if you're here and you posted the photo critique section, post the link in the chat and we can get to that page and we can answer that as well. We are here for you.
There's a good question.
Shutterbug, Denise.
What situations would be suitable for reducing contrast or clarity below 0 on the slider?
Ooh.
I reduce clarity below 0 in order to soften skin quite a bit when I'm doing weddings.
Yeah.
You have to be very careful with it because you don't want to go too extreme. And also, if you mask someone and then drop it below 0, that'll help smooth out skin all the time. As far as contrast goes, I don't know if you want that look, like a
Yeah,
flatter
that
look.
flat kind of high blacks look. Yeah. Yeah, I agree. And I would definitely say for like the clarity for portraits, for skin, and the masking tools are so good on Lightroom. And there was just an update, which I haven't played around with, but Lightroom has new, they call it AI powered noise reduction. And then they also added a curves editor for masks. So now within masks, you can
Oh,
edit with a tone curve, which is awesome.
Man, that's wild.
But yeah, now you could select skin. You could select like cheeks versus eyes versus lips, and edit all that stuff individually. So otherwise, like clarity, sometimes I drop it just for like that sort of like ethereal, like just kind of magical vibe when I don't want a lot of like detail. I don't know. I've
mhm.
done that. I'm trying to think when. Maybe like with some water or something that I've shot. Long exposures, maybe. Can't really
I feel like
remember.
it's such a stylistic thing. I don't think I've ever reduced clarity. Well, maybe I have. I don't like messing with clarity that much. I just feel like it alters the actual look of the image too much for me. Like I
Yeah.
guess
Well, you got to be
slightly
subtle.
in degrees, but yeah,
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 subtlety, so it doesn't look fake.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Exactly. It makes it look too too much, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Hmm.
But
Well, do it with a mask, maybe. If you're editing portraits, I do. Yeah, I use that all the time for portraits. Yeah. Oh, boys, it's been a month.
Sorry, can you guys hear that leaf blower outside my house?
it's not too bad.
Barely.
Oh wow, that's impressive because it is loud.
Your mic's
So
pretty good, dude.
I will keep muting myself until I have to talk. But yeah, any other Q&A questions? Like we're here to answer some questions. Sam, did you end up getting that Godex and your umbrella for your portraits that you're gonna do?
I got the Godex. Yeah, I have that. I got an umbrella, but I'm going to return it because I got the big one, and I don't think I'll be able to travel with it. I wanted to get the biggest spread that I could, but I didn't realize how long it would be. So I needed to get something a little bit smaller. Uh, But luckily, that's for more so the second leg of this trip. So I'm working with some people that can bring that out. But outside of that, yeah, I'm trying to keep it really, really simple in terms of the gear that I'm bringing out. Just because video is more so the focus, but I'm also wanting to get some really great, portraiture. I've decided I love landscape photography still, and I'm probably still going to do that. But I've realized for myself, like, I just want to take photos of people. I think that's more like I look whenever Will's like sharing photos from like a wedding or, um, I don't know. I just am so much more excited about seeing photos of people. Someone said no voice, no sound. Can people not hear me
I
or
can
us?
hear you guys. I think you guys are here.
Okay.
I mute
Okay.
myself every so often, but I think I've been pretty good. Please try to resolve it. Oh, that might not be on our end. Let us know if you
Yeah.
can hear us.
All right, maybe. Yeah, I don't know. I think everyone else can hear. Becky asks, this is a good question. I want to start exploring filters for long exposure. I have a Canon 17
Yeah.
to 40 millimeter f4 lens and keep seeing different opinions on vignetting with magnetic. Is square the way to go? Um, well, so vignetting, here's my take, and you guys correct me. Vignetting is going to be like compounded with a long exposure if that lens has like a natural vignette to it. And I just looked up because I'm not really I've never used that lens, but I looked up just to see. Here's a great website that I found for that lens, and it shows kind of the natural vignetting at different um, f-stops for that and focal lengths for that lens. And so you can see at like f4 there's a lot more vignetting than an f5.6. So that's just going to happen with certain lenses. But what about like, I don't think like ND filter generally has, which you would use for a long exposure, generally has like vignetting to it. It shouldn't, right?
It shouldn't. It shouldn't. Yeah.
So I think it might
Um,
just be the lens with like a longer exposure compounding, but I'm not sure. What do you guys think?
I mean, I would say that if you're getting into long exposure photography, and wanting to do that kind of thing, that's a great lens for it. Any wide angle lens that as you go wider is probably going to have some vignetting. So if you can, maybe don't shoot at 17. And then also on top of that, higher f stops, f8, f5.6, f11 are going to most likely help with that vignetting as well. In terms of filters for that, there's a few options depending on you just have to know your frontal thread size. So it's probably 72, 77 millimeter, 82 millimeter. Um, and you can get variable ND filters, or you can just get like a ND9 or ND 1.2, which all correlate with how much light they're stopping down. Now, for long exposure in daytime, you're probably going to want a big stopper, which is like 10 stops of light that you're blocking out. Um, and the thing, you can get just a screw on filter, and that's probably the best starting point. The thing that Will has that I think is just more universal because you can put it on different types of lenses or different lenses is actually a filter tray that you connect to the front of your lens. And that you can use on across multiple lenses, which is kind of the cool thing about it. But in terms of brands and stuff, who makes your filter tray, Will?
Lee Filters makes it, and it's like a standard 4x5 square filters, but also it can do circular ones. And the only, like Sam said, the only reason I ended up going with that is not because of vignetting, is because I can fit that on any of my lenses across still cameras or video cameras. And the magnetic ones are great too. But I don't know. Square has just been, I don't know, easier to transport, easier to get into different map boxes, easier to, I don't know. I know they're just a little bit more standardized, and they've always been square filters. So that's just kind of how it's been, and it will work on a mirage of different size lenses as you start to build them up. If you do the circular ones, you're kind of nailed at whatever diameter you get, or smaller. And even if it's smaller, it still has to be in a matte box. So at that point, you might as well get a square filter. So it just depends on what you're doing. That being said, Sam and I have a ton of polarizers and ND variables that are all circular because sometimes we don't want to run a matte box. So it just
Yeah.
depends on what you.
I will say as well, I don't know if you're looking at the KNF concept lenses for the magnetic ones. I've used those. They're wonderful. They work so well. I was worried that
I
I
have
was
their
going to
square
easily knock
filters.
them off.
Yeah.
Yeah. But the magnetic KNFs, they do work well. And I don't think vignetting is really an issue. But like Phil said, the longer exposure you're doing, the more those things are going to be, become more pronounced. The other thing is, if you're doing any long exposures during the daytime and happen to be doing stuff around water, I would also consider getting a polarizer on top of whatever ND filter, neutral density filter you choose to get, because the polarizer for those will change the water quite a bit.
So you can actually see I have a circular adapter. So I have a bunch of these and they screw onto whatever lens I'm using. And then on this goes my filter clamp on here. And then, oh, sorry, I guess that way. And then inside this filter clamp are little slots that you would then put the square filters into. So you can have multiple ones. And it's just really tiny and small, and I can just kind of fit it wherever I want. But it's, versatile more than just a regular circular one.
Yeah. So Becky said she was looking at the KNF magnetic ones. Yeah, they're great. A great option, definitely. I would just make sure you get sort of, if you're wanting to do long exposure, get the one that I think it goes ND2 to ND400, I think is what they call it. But you want to be able to block out as much light as possible, so you can do longer exposures.
Cool. That was awesome. And I think you guys kind of covered it, but Denise just asked UV. She said UV. I thought she said ND. Will a UV filter affect how much light will reach the sensor?
It should not.
It should not if it's high quality.
Unless it's a bad one.
Yeah. Very asks, and Jack, you just posted a question in general chat. Okay, I'll bring that up after this, but Very asks, some people suggest to slightly overexpose to get more light in, but when I do the opposite at night mostly, I underexpose a bit to preserve the highlights. Am I totally wrong?
I do. Someone said with digital cameras, I wouldn't do that. I would actually do the other direction and do a bit underexposed, because typically in digital cameras, you're going to lose your whites faster than you'll lose your shadows and darks.
Yeah.
So underexposing a bit to preserve the highlights is what you should be doing.
Yeah.
If I understand the question right.
Yeah.
Which is opposite with film, if you're shooting film.
Yeah, because at night, like, you are wanting to preserve the highlights more, right? Well, I guess it depends on what you're trying to photograph.
Yeah, it depends on what you're doing. If there's no bright highlight spot, yeah, sure, you want to make sure you get enough information in the darks so that when you pull it up, it's not crazy noisy. But at the same time, it's like you have to nail a spot that's not going to allow you to lose your highlights. So we can say underexposed and overexposed as like a general rule, but really it depends on the situation you're in and what camera you have and how much latitude you have. Mm-hmm. So I'd say in general, with digital cameras, underexposing by one stop is a really safe place to be.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that being said, though, as well, like, if you're, like, I guess it depends how you're reading that light. Like, if there is a light or a sun, like the sun in your frame, that's going to be overexposed no matter what. Like, the actual bulb will probably be overexposed. So, like, it's okay if that is, but in terms of how contrasty it is. Like if it's like on someone's face, you never want to overexpose someone's face because you're going to lose any detail of their skin, and that you always want to be slightly under. But if you have like a scene and there's like a bright sky behind it, like it's creative choice. Do you expose for the sky, or do you let the sky just be completely overexposed?
Jack, you said you posted a question in general chat. I can't find it. Do you have a link, or do you have a different name that you go by on Plus? Are you John on Plus by any chance? Because there's a new question about noise. All right, let me bring this question up since it was just posted. It might be you. Let's see. Okay, so the question is, and I'll try to zoom in here in a second. How do I recognize noise, and how do I avoid or remove it? Attached are an image and an edited version of the same image. The edits in Apple, iPad are primarily noise reduction. Blah, blah, blah. Some are camera noise, some might be pollen grains. Is there any way looking at these two images? Okay, let me bring these up and I'll see if we can even see.
We're still kind of seeing part of one side of your screen there, Phil. I don't know if.
Yeah, I know. Oh, sorry.
There you go. That's better.
I'm zoomed in because I want to show you guys the details as much as possible.
That's a hard call to tell the difference between the pollen and the noise.
I mean, these little speckles here, this white stuff, that's not noise. Yeah, the digital noise, it would be like a more general look. And I forget which one's edited.
That bottom one looks like it's the one edited because it looks pretty softened. Yeah. Like, to me, the detail
I can't even see noise in this photo, honestly. There's a little bit of noise you can kind of tell up in the top. Yeah,
I love the detail of it.
Yeah, it's sharp. I think like this one looks like it's just smoothed out too much. It looks a little fake to me. Like the contrast is gone. Yeah, in the center, exactly.
Yeah.
And a really good way to tell noise is to really just zoom and look in on the shadowed parts, all the dark parts, because that's where it's going to be the most prevalent. But like, honestly, like I'm not even seeing this from Phil's sharing through a stream. We're not seeing any noise, so it's fine.
I'm gonna look up like a photo and see if I have a photo where you can see the noise, so I can kind of help. We can kind of help show what that looks like. I'm just gonna go to Google and look and see.
I'm gonna go grab some popcorn.
Yeah, got it.
Starbuck Denise asked about identifying color noise. It'll be like, I mean, it's like little bits of grains of sand all over your image, but they actually have the RGB. There'll be like red dots and green dots and blue dots in like across your image. But it's not going to ever be just like, you'll see it more in the shadows, but it'll be across the entire image. Like that noise will be, if you're shooting at way too high of an ISO, like it'll exist over the entire image. It's just more visible in certain areas. Yeah.
Let me see. I'm gonna bring up a photo in Lightroom so we can kind of show this.
Did you guys see the question that said what time is it right there right now? Because they're from India.
Oh, it's 10:38 a.m. where I am.
It's 12:38 p.m. where I am.
All right. So let's see. So this is kind of, you might be able to see. Let's see if you can see. Let me bring up, not Chrome. I want to bring up Lightroom. So this is a night long exposure, and you can probably see in the sky. I don't know. Can you guys even see that? It's like a little bit noisy. This is the after. This is after I did some noise reduction. Here's before, after, before, after.
Can you punch in?
How do I punch in even more? Yeah. Before, after. Yeah, I mean, you can see like the night sky. You don't see like these little dots and stuff with your eye, but you see it in the camera. Here's before. Here you can see it even more. Let me actually take off. There's some automatic noise reduction added and color. Okay, so here you can see the color. Let's see. Can I zoom in even more? Okay, that's probably maybe too much, but let's take out the luminance noise, which is like the black and white noise. I'm going to go kind of too crazy with it. And here you see that it's like, yeah, like Sam said, there's red, green, and blue dots that make up everything. And if I add some noise reduction color, it takes it out.
The thing that does do though is it's softening all those pixels, and so the overall image will become softer at that point, which can give sometimes, there's a balance there. Obviously Phil's doing it to an extreme level, but there's definitely a balance there.
So yeah, I mean, really you are seeing like that, those like speckles, and you can see it more in like a dark photo when your camera's like, or if you boost your ISO, or in a long exposure, but hopefully that helps. Let's see. Any other questions?
Any more questions, friends? Yeah, we've still got 20 minutes left. We have so many questions we could be answering right now.
I was just pulling in a couple of the photos of the Niagara Falls that I had taken over the past week. I only had my Fuji X-T4 with my 16 millimeter there that day, and I was on the US side, which apparently the Canadian side is a lot better.
Yeah, but America,
you get to see everything. So here, let's see, let me show you my Lightroom again. So I made it black and white. I made it black and white. I did, and then
you did.
So some of the things I did, this was like literally a quick edit I was doing while you guys were answering a question. So I boosted the shadows just a little bit. I boosted the clarity and the texture, and kind of like you said, Will, like if I boost the clarity too much, it's hard for you to see, but it can start to look a little bit fake. But here's boosting the clarity where that makes sense when you want to see those textures in a landscape photo.
So contrast. Good job.
Like obviously if I went opposite with the clarity, that looks kind of weird. Although it might be kind of cool, like looking at this, to decrease the clarity in the water over on the right side if you want that look, and just like really boost the clarity of the water going over the falls. Here's another one. I like that kind of angle.
Phil, these photos would be a really good candidate to do a linear gradient over the top of the sky and boost the contrast like crazy.
Yeah, I actually have a sky gradient already.
Oh, sky mask. I keep forgetting that you can do that specifically.
This is and just one for like the water. I didn't go too detailed with the waterfall, but you can see a little mask adds some of that detail of the water going over the falls. And then this adds a little bit of, I added even more texture down here. Like maybe what I would do is even add another, maybe I don't like these plants right here. It's taking the eye away from the waterfall, which is like the main subject. I might just like drop that down. I don't know. It's kind of cool to see the textures of those plants though.
I like seeing it. I think it's giving it some structure to it and some place.
Yeah.
I mean, I think the detail in the water is probably the best thing that you can do in a shot like this, and the contrast.
Yeah. So I'll play around with these a little bit more. It's pretty cool. Anyone watching been to Niagara Falls or any other epic waterfalls? Because it was pretty cool.
Because it was pretty epic.
I have one of my favorite photos of Iguazu Falls,
those
which was really
look
cool.
Even more epic.
It's so powerful sitting there, like just the roar and constant noise of it all.
I mean, just to comprehend how much water is going over that is just insane.
Yeah. Did you get on a boat? I've always wanted to get on a boat.
No, not with the kids. It was really cold too. So.
Oh yeah.
not worth it.
That's fair.
Looks like
Someone's
Brittany had a question.
Oh, what was Brittany's question? Brittany says, I'm still a bit away from doing it, but I want to get a portfolio book eventually. Any brands you guys prefer?
Man, I forgot the name of mine.
I,
It's been a
I
while
put in
since
the
I've
chat. Artifact Uprising makes really nice books. They can be pricey, but they make very, very nice photo books. And then Dave Photo Lab does some good stuff.
Profolio.
Profolio, is that what Sol
Yeah, I feel like
Digital is another one. I mean, they sponsored a video
Sol,
with the prints that I've put up on my wall, but their books are really nice too. Greg asked, did you go to the aquarium? Are you talking about in Cleveland, or is there an aquarium near Niagara Falls? Because I went in Cleveland, saw a bunch of sharks. It's pretty cool. Facebook user, I don't have your name because you're not on YouTube, but you said, I did my first photo shoot last week. Would you be able to let me know what you think of the shots? Are they posted to Plus, our free community that you can join today, which we got to thank all of our supporters. Thank you, as always, for supporting us.
Thank you guys so much.
You always helps us. Pay
How do
for
I
the
get
platform. Sorry, Will. But you can all
It's
join
fine.
for free over at plus.photography and friends. If you want critiques, I would post them for that photo shoot, post them all to a single photo critiques post, and we'll try to get to them, unless they're already there.
It's Michael Dale. Let's see if he's in Photo and Friends Plus.
I can look
Cool
at
friends.
it. Jack asks, tips for waterfalls in Hawaii. Are you talking about tips for photographing waterfalls, or are there specific waterfalls we recommend going to?
I'm assuming taking photos of waterfalls.
Yeah, probably.
What's your top tip for taking photos of a waterfall, Phil?
Oh, well, I guess it depends on if you want to do a long exposure versus a not long exposure. I would definitely bring an ND filter with you, because I think that those photos are super awesome. I don't know. I would try to pay attention to not just your standard composition of the waterfall itself, but try to frame it with some foreground elements, or
there you go.
Framing within a frame or something like that. Try to get something a little bit more unique. What else?
I think time of day can be a big factor, because if typically a waterfall is going to be a tall place going to a low place, canyons, depending where the sun is, you could get really high contrast between the shadows and the highlights, or you could get, the sun's already passed and everything's sort of the same. Oh, everything's the same.
Sounds like some Guatemala video there.
No, just started auto playing. But yeah, I think paying attention to time of day, sort of planning out find a waterfall and then figure out where the sun's going to be and what the optimal time to be there would be.
Yeah. I'm trying to find Michael's photos. Michael, if you have a link to your post in Plus, we can bring that up. There's so much water on the East Coast, though. In California, it's silly. Obviously, California has been in a drought for many years. Up until this year has been crazy with the amount of water we've gotten. But, going from Cleveland to Buffalo, it was just you're driving and it's oh, there's rivers everywhere and ponds everywhere and lakes everywhere. It's pretty cool. That's the one thing I really don't like about Southern California is not being close to water, except if you're close to the beach, which is obviously awesome.
Right.
Yeah, post that link to your first photo shoot in the comments. Otherwise, it's a pretty slow week here
Otherwise,
in the live stream, friends, which is fine.
Yeah, not a lot of questions. It's because we've been doing this for so long that we've answered everyone's every single question.
everyone's
Oh,
just out
I,
taking photos.
I have a good discussion though. If you want, we don't
Yeah.
have to go on this forever.
Oh
But
yeah, love it.
what are your guys' feelings on watermarks? I had that come up again for me on a call the other day, in regards to not just protecting them as far as like copyright goes and imaging to like a client, but also just like advertising. Well, good talk. Nice seeing you guys. I will talk to you guys later. Bye.
They're just so distracting to me. I feel
Yeah.
like it just distracts from the photo unless it's like super subtle, low opacity.
In the
Like,
corner.
I don't think it protects the image necessarily from pirating, which it's like, what are you trying to protect yourself from? Like someone taking your photo and sharing it as your own. Like people can edit that out easily with Photoshop,
Or just crop it out.
or just crop
So
it out.
that was my argument too. But like, so what about advertising though? Do you feel like it's a good way to make sure that like your name is out there if someone takes your image?
I guess I'm like,
Right.
where are you posting your photo? On Instagram? Is someone like looking at the
Or like
watermark?
reposting? Yeah, I mean, they're like, oh, who took that photo, and no one tagged you in it? How will they know?
Right. I mean, having brand recognition is a good thing overall. I do think like that's where signing contracts with people or like well yeah, signing contracts with clients, like if you're going to post my work, please, that you have to be tagged in it. So at least that way there's a known thing there, like there's photos taken by this person. Like if it's in an article, like typically the photographer is credited. I will say in terms of safety though, like Lightroom, when you export, you can export metadata. So you can, in the digital file, be adding copyright
Right.
information.
As long
I
as they're
highly
not
recommend.
screenshotting it.
Well, yeah. But that's also, I guess, to some degree, the world we live in now is that
Yeah.
tons of photos are just repurposed all over the web, and AIs, I mean, you can remove any watermark. It's really not a safeguard to that. But it's marketing to some degree. If you have like a
Yeah.
recognizable logo versus a like name, I guess, but I don't know.
Okay, we
Yeah.
got this link to this. I don't know. You guys can continue this conversation, but this link to Michael's post. It'd be super helpful if you join our the Photography and Friends Plus community, because this is exactly why we started it, because going through the Facebook group has become harder and harder over the years to stay organized. But let me see if I can pull this up in the Facebook group.
And the Photography Friends Plus is free.
And you've got a Fuji X-T4 with the 56 1.2. Awesome. I love that. All right, this is it. Okay.
We love a 56 1.4, don't we, Sam?
Love it when it works.
Oh,
You probably have the old one though, don't you? All right.
appreciate you inspiring.
This is
Ontario, Canada.
okay. So here we got your first photo shoot. I had no idea how to pose. Luckily, my model knew what was going on. No filters. Edited in Lightroom. A little nervous. High shutter speed, low f-stop. All right, so I'm just gonna go through these. Can you see?
Those are nice. I love that you put the sun on the back as a backlight. That's like the way to go with that sort of situation.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, man, that 56 looks great.
It's a little, gosh, it might just be Facebook. It's like looks soft, but it looks like it's just the upload quality. Although like some of these, like this one looks a little soft compared to this one, looks sharper to me. So that F2 might be a little bit too soft, like for your next one, especially if you're like here, the focus looks like it's sharp on the feet, the shoes, and not necessarily the eyes. So maybe, I don't know if you're face detection was on or the eye detection was on. Like if it was, maybe don't use that next time. Play around with it off. Although I found that to be pretty good on the X-T4. So maybe put that on because it looks like the focus was a little bit off. But in terms of posing,
Yeah, those are really great posing, especially for that kind of situation. Oh, that was great. I love the crop
That's
on
fun.
that one. Yeah.
that's a real photo.
Yeah. I think it's really hard to do portraits like this with that kind of light, and it looks like you're nailing it. Like the exposure is really great. It's not overblown. It's natural. The cropping is a little different on every single one. It's not as consistent, but I think that you're cropping to the vibe and the style, so that's like really good. Um, yeah, I wouldn't be afraid to get closer. I wouldn't be afraid to like that have more depth in your background. Um, those all look really good though. Man,
Maybe
that lighting is
like
nice.
I like the I don't know. I feel like I would have just to be critical since I think that helps. I think these are pretty dang good for your first photo shoot. So you should be proud of them. Maybe like instead of sitting right in front of the tree, like done some of these same poses where the background was just like nothing, like just the distance behind. I feel like the tree could kind of be like this one. It works. I think her sitting on the tree, but I kind of like these shots here where
Yeah.
the background is just all like blurry.
Yeah, and you can even do her sitting on the ground and then looking up, pointed down, and just fill the background with grass.
Like this one, I feel like is
I think there's a good variety in there, and then there's just quite a few from the moment with the tree. I think probably you could have in this upload just selected one or two of those, but because there's more with the tree and less with others, like it just feels like it's imbalance in like just the share. But so, some of them with the tree are great, and then you also do some walking around, and you do some from low angles and high angles. Like you have, I think, great like a good selection of photos with different poses and moments, and but it feels like too many with the tree in there. It just feels a little too, just a few too many there.
I mean, here's like an example for beginners, like seeing the sunlight directly on the face versus here it's kind of like on the side of the face, and then you got a couple where it was like more of a backlight, which is
there. That'd be my
nice.
normal. But again, it's very hard to do portraits like in that kind of harsh, direct light. And if that's your first time, like, good job.
Yeah, you should be proud for sure. Cool. Well, it's been an hour. I hope that everyone has enjoyed their time with us. Hit that like button. Make sure if you're not on Plus, head over there and join. It's a lot better for us. Stays organized. It's easy. It's free. And there was a question about the lighting course, schedule-wise, when that one will be out.
Soon.
Next month or two. Yeah.
Probably next month.
Yeah. Probably. Just stay tuned though on Plus and everywhere. Guys, it's gonna let's get that. I think we'll be off next week, and Will and we will be adding more of the scheduled live streams to the Plus community because I think our events are expiring. But keep doing those photo challenges, and we will see everyone soon. Okay.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
Thanks, everybody.
See you all in 2 months.
Yeah, Sam,
Hi,
have
Sam.
fun on your trip and
We'll
post photos.
do.
Stay safe.
Yeah. Thanks, man.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.